Like it's twofold, right? I think it's great that you teach your children in this knowledge and stuff. I think it's wonderful. Um, but the thing, well, and it contrasts though. It does have its contrast because many of the elders, like we love Firstborn Prince, and he said that. He was recorded even saying that. But at the same time, a lot of the elders, they had difficult teaching their families though. You know what I mean? Because their families, they were ostracized from them. And because they were pariahs though, they also became pariahs of the street. So they're now, because of their decisions and how they view things, they also aren't really able to get education or really navigate the world very well. You know, like people think like 5%ers, we were taught to navigate the world.
Right.
But what the father did was very difficult. The father navigated the world as himself and seemed to have almost no trouble. Like he was ridiculous with it. Right? But for a lot of the elders and the generations after, the firstborns and everybody else, that wasn't so easy. It's not easy to navigate. Say, I am this, but I'm a peaceful person. It's not. You know what I mean? How are you peaceful if you don't believe in the mystery of God? You know, you don't believe in salvation of everyone, and you think you can do it. You know, you get that kind of questioning and stuff, and then they won't. You know, let's not forget, like, during their times, though, this is just right after the 50s and 60s, you know, that revolution of thought that is, you know, Woodstock and hippie stuff, that really didn't invade our people's schooling and our people's lifestyles and stuff. You know, so like the machismo of dads and all that kind of stuff, that's well into the 80s. That didn't, the hippies and Woodstock, that didn't affect our families at all. There was no change in the way parents were dealing with their children, nothing like that. It was as old-fashioned as before. So that means that if you didn't deal with religion, you're lacking humility, you have arrogance, you don't have grace, you don't have humility, and all of these things that are needed of man, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you're not a good person. You're actually going to cause trouble, you know? And you're going to, if you're saying you're God, you're going to fool people to equip themselves with tools that they don't have. You think about that, right? Because we're supposed to be like, oh, well, you know, Jesus, I don't know what I could do, you know. Jesus will do the rest, you know what I mean? I done all I can, you know. Like, Jesus will have the rest, though, you know. And I'm like,
take the wheel.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah. So look at people when they say that to him. I'm like, so you fucking quit now? Like, you're just quitting. Like, you just, that's it. We're done. You know, like, we're not going to try anymore. Like, so, you know, when you do it like that, people don't realize how hard it was to teach their families, though, and then how quickly the women in their lives decided not to go through that hardship, the pain of it, the difficulty of it. You know what I mean? And people forget, though, that, like, and you can understand this, though, not because, just because you're a mother and everything, but you've seen it. A lot of times, this is my thought and what I've seen. A lot of times, when you're a 5%er and you make a family, the woman will go back, especially when you have children, the woman will go back to the ways of her mother. Because her mother has a supposedly proven way of raising the children. And that's from like pregnancy onward. Like she did it, she knows more. And everything you would be saying is totally radical. You know what I mean? Totally radical. You know, and totally off the wall, batshit crazy. And so it's not adopted. They go back to the old ways that seem tried and true. And a lot of the elders, that's what they dealt with.
That's what's rooted.
That's what they dealt with.
The first pins, the first seeds.
Yeah.
That's why.
So the first pins.
Yeah.
The first pins, right. So if she's not on point with that, then it's
Go back to whatever mommy and grandma said.
Right.
And we're trying to teach them.
So what that festers from that is because of the disappointment. So you're coming in the name of God and you're not upholding the standard, right? In terms of what you're speaking of.
Sure,
right?
sure.
What else this child is supposed to do if the father failed as his duty as being God and father?
Yeah.
So that child has to go to their parent to be further taught, or to have a level of safety and protection and create their own foundation and their own way of life, because the pillar person, which is the God, the knowledge, right, already failed the cipher, the universe, right? So what else that child does? It has to mimic the wisdom,
So
the
that's
secondary.
interesting
You
to
know what I mean? Like,
Right.
which not in the secondary, but you know what I'm saying.
I know,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what. So and then it becomes the pressure of, you know, if she endured hardship or pain or trauma from this male that was her partner, now they're no longer together. Now she's gonna do away with this lifestyle, and she really didn't choose it for her anyway. If she do away for it, right? Like
Right.
in terms of being
Yeah.
a 5% and being Earth, right? So you still gotta choose this for you. So if that relationship fails, now the baby is with the moms mostly, right? The primary parent. Not to say the father's not active, right? But if she didn't choose this for herself, then the child could eventually become 85 again, or stray away, or grafted, or mix and dilute, right? So this is why it's important for the mother to be rooted in culture, right?
Exactly.
And has to come here as herself and understand the importance of what sisterhood looks like, what womanhood looks like, and the realms and the depths of this role, which obviously we cannot get all of it from God. We can give aspects or an interpretation or a concept, but learning to be the earth, you have to get it and walk and talk with earth.
Right, you need
At
that
the end
sisterhood.
of the day, it's not just being a parent, God, like a parent in coin lessons. It's really the existence, the essence, embodying this major responsibility.
You see,
as
in
Earth.
the reality that you have had, Earth, you've been able to preserve a lot of the right and exact ways of mothers prior, and bringing that into the nation. It has a foundation where you wouldn't be like, well, I got to do the 85 ways of my mother, grandmother, whatever they was doing, because you went and researched and lived it out, and did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's what happens. But in this way, they didn't know how to do that. The gods, they just was like, be fruitful, multiply. And
because there's a lack of a support system.
It was all.
Like we try, because you use that word failed. It's like that you failed, but you ran into a wall, but you have to kind of pick yourself up.
And it was all like the first time trying
let
it.
Let me say this to not be like I'm not trying to.
No. Absolutely.
That's not what I'm saying when I say failed, right?
Right.
Let's clarify that more or elaborate. Failed in the sense of, because y'all learning from gods, y'all learning that nature, right, and building according to those standards, right? But it doesn't mean you learn how to teach a woman, you know, and it's very different in making the earth from the beginning, which is only your daughter, not a black woman that you've taken on as your queen. That's a very different relationship, right? And you can't teach her how to be herself, because you only could get that from a woman. I'm only gonna know myself for being amongst and walking and talking with women. You could teach me how to be your woman and love you and your language and how to conduct this universe, but that's not the same for the next God in the next universe. At the end of the day, we can have a common foundation, but it's still different universes, right? So you're teaching me according to what you require in your truth, right? But your sister has to have it within her. It has to be in her nature to want to build according to what is right and just and true for herself. That has to come in you, you know, like from you. So to me, that only is extracted or nurtured from being with other earths and other elders and other righteous women that may not come in the name of earth. Because I learned so much from other women that was not a part of 5% Nation.
Right.
You know, but
that's why I say the extraction that you did in your life. To
but,
get the best part from all these different places.
And then I was blessed to sit with my mother, wisdom, understanding, literally in her house. Many times, not on a Parliament weekend, you know, like on a regular day, on a regular Tuesday, you know what I mean, with my babies, and literally sit there and do the knowledge and walking and talking. A lot of people ain't blessed for that. They might see an elder earth here and be like, oh, she was like a mother to me. No, that was my mother, because she sat there.
Which is interesting, because you are advocating the same route that we take. Like, you have to walk and talk with the gods.
You have to
walk and talk with the earths.
You must do your own research, as I did.
If Mecca did this.